Today I effed up by picking up the wrong person from the airport and getting pulled over at gunpoint by the police. I live near a smaller airport and I help out at the local Turkish community center. I'm white, but I go to a free dinner they do every Thursday and it's amazing, so I chose to volunteer every once in a while. Set up, take down, help older people out, the usual volunteer at a center thing. I've met a ton of awesome people and they're a blast to hang out with. So last week, I was tasked to pick up an older woman flying in from Turkey as she was the guest of honor at a fundraiser they were having. I was told she knew little to no English and I wasn't the first choice to go get her. I was just the only one available since everyone else had bigger jobs to do. They give me a sign with her surname on it, her flight number, and a general description of what she looked like. Whiteboard in hand and a little hesitant, I set off for the airport ready to get my cargo. I pull up to the international gate and immediately see an Eastern European woman standing all alone. I get out my sign that says Demir and she smiles with great joy, points at the sign, points at herself, and without hesitation, loads her bags in the car and hops in. Last name? Check. Eastern European? Check. Not much English? Check. Can't believe my luck. I pull out of the airport and immediately head in the direction of the Turkish center with my passenger all buckled up ready for the 35-minute drive. About 15 minutes into the ride, she pulls out her phone and begins to rustle around. She calls someone and frantically speaks in Turkish. I'm thinking she left something on the plane or at home. I felt bad, but I couldn't do anything about it at the time. I was driving in the freeway. 10 minutes later, I'm off the freeway and a cop passes. He immediately flips out, lights me up, and I pull over. At this point, I'm freaking out, and when I turn around, I see the lady has Uber out, and upon further inspection, I'm not the Uber driver. The cops tell me to get out, and I'm taken down very fast by a plethora of cops, handcuffed and put in the back of a squad car with zero information. My head hurts from the slam against the ground, and I'm fully aware of the kidnapping situation I'm in. After about 15 minutes of the lady screaming in Turkish to the police and other cars arriving, an officer opens the door and asks me my story. I ask him to use my phone to contact the Turkish center, and the lead woman comes down to explain what happened. Little did I know, Demir is one of the most common surnames in all of Turkey. So when the lady, her first trip to America, sees that I have her name, she figures I'm the Uber driver ready to pick her up. She knows how to use Google Maps and saw we were headed in the opposite direction of her intended destination. My heart is still going 10,000 beats a minute, while another car with a friend from the center and what could be the real Demir pulls up. After a discussion that I'm not a part of takes place, the cops get me out of the car, unhandcuff me, and everyone, including the kidnapped woman, seems to be laughing, except me. I'm in disbelief as to what just happened, and I definitely sweated through my entire outfit. We get back to the Turkish center, and the story spread like wildfire. Everyone comes up to me with a hug, a laugh, and a drink. I got drunk. OP, tragically here, it seems like everyone else effed up and that you're the only person who did exactly what was expected. Sorry you got body slammed by the cops, at least you didn't get shot though. Today I effed up by wearing a shawl which ruined my relationship with my girlfriend. Minor background, I'm a pretty affectionate and at times effeminate dude. I'm 6'2" and have a pretty tough guy background in that I was in special forces a while ago and my roommates all served as well. But I also have thin wrists and sit on my friend's lap and blow kisses to them and stuff. I'm not gay, I'm just me. So while I was in a shop with a roommate a few weeks ago, he saw these really cool shawls that we both couldn't get out of our heads. He returned last weekend to buy them and now we have these shawls. Mine makes me look like a Star Wars character, and his looks like the outlaw Josie Wales. These are seriously awesome shawls. The first night we wore them, everybody at the dive bar we went to, dudes, thought they were awesome as well. Then this girl and his friend arrive on invite from Shawl Bro, and they are seriously turned off by our sweet shawls. Like, acting pretty weird about them and making comments, whatever. So I get a call from my girlfriend. She's tired and wants to hang out at mine, and so I bid these mean girls and Shawl Bro adieu and head home. I'm still wearing the shawl when my girlfriend arrives, and she's also really taken aback. She won't even kiss me until I take it off. We get to the deed and go to sleep, and the next morning she starts asking me if I'm gay. And she's really serious and aggressive about it. I tell her I'm not, that if I was, I definitely know it by now. And she counters with her major evidence of the fact that I own a shawl. Anyway, she gets weird and leaves, and then sends me a text later about how she's sorry that she needs to think about what kind of man she wants, and then doesn't contact me for days. So yesterday, I invite her out. She's stumbling over her words and talking about how she likes tough guys and how she grew up in the South and needs to get used to the big city, but that she doesn't know this or that, and eventually, I just tell her very politely to get screwed because I'm pretty insulted by this point. On the way back, now that I'm not directly in front of her, I get this long apologetic text from her, but the crux of it is that, yeah, she's just not that into me anymore because I wore a shawl. Later on, I tell Shawl Bro about this, and he also had a blowout with the girl he was seeing over his shawl that very same night we went out. We're both gonna keep wearing the shawls though. They're warm. And OP included a picture of him in his shawl. And yeah, I am kind of getting a Star Wars vibe from this. Today I effed up by telling someone he had something on his trailer dragging. Happened this morning, about 5 hours ago. I was on my way to work, following a guy towing a trailer behind him. I noticed some sparks coming from somewhere underneath the trailer. Normally, I wouldn't think twice about it, but I was having an especially good morning and wanted to help. Plus, he was hauling a decent-sized excavator and didn't want something to happen to it because it looked pretty new. We pull up to a stoplight and I hop out of my truck to run up to him and let him know. Apparently, he didn't see me because when I said excuse me, his window was open. He turned and punched me in the jaw. Being one who didn't want to escalate the situation, I let him know about the trailer and proceeded to apologize for scaring him. As I turned around to go back to my truck, the light turned green. The way this intersection is, there's the lights we were waiting at and another light 50 feet back down the road to tell incoming traffic what the light is, as it's somewhat of a blind curve. As I'm walking back to my truck, a woman comes around the corner and slams into the back of my truck, pushing it forward into me. It didn't move very fast, but hit me hard enough to knock me over and crack a few ribs. She then gets out and yells at me for being stopped at the intersection as I'm laying on the ground in quite a bit of pain. The way she viewed it, I was an 18-year-old kid who got out of my truck to do something stupid. The cops got there and she got cuffed after trying to assault one of the officers. Why do I have a sneaking suspicion that this took place in Florida? Today I effed up by relaxing too much during a sensual massage. Bit of backstory. I started talking to a guy on Reddit last week. We hit it off, started texting, and found out that he lives about 20 minutes from me. We decided to meet for a date on Friday. I have irritable bowel syndrome and stomach was feeling a bit dodgy, but decided to soldier on. I was also very tired. The F up. So I'm at the guy's house and I've made us a very nice mac and cheese. There was some cuddling, kissing, and some banging. We're then snuggling on the sofa and I feel a big fart brewing. I'm hoping I can just absorb it back into my body if I hold on to it long enough. We start talking about massages and the guy offers to give me one. I choose a relaxing oil. I'm naked on my front and he's naked straddling me, kind of sitting on my bum. He starts rubbing my back and turns out he's good at massages. I'm feeling really relaxed and start to drift off. I then wake myself up with the most earth-shattering fart I have ever expelled. The fart I was holding captive had burst free with a vengeance, displeased by the extended time in my rectum. It was hella loud and it was hella long, and it was right on his balls. It was so forceful, they vibrated. His response was to tell me, through tears of laughter, at least you didn't mess yourself. OP, you gave your date a reverse motorboat. Today I effed up by escaping an escape room. A friend of a friend has apparently been into escape rooms for a while now and finally decided to create his own as a Halloween party experience for his friends. Since I don't know him and wouldn't realistically be coming to the party, I agreed to take part in a test along with 3 other random folks that have been gathered for the dry run. It ended up being a group of 4 people who totally didn't know each other at all, as opposed to any sort of cohesive group of friends or employees. Our host told us a ton of rules and guidelines. Don't break anything. No answers are hidden or in something you have to ruin in order to see it, and so on. He was going to stand inside the room with us, but was to be ignored as if he wasn't there. This was in case we needed any direction or if we started doing something against the rules. He wore a black mask and black clothing. Immediately at the start of the game, everyone got quiet and started looking around slowly. As I mentioned, no one knew each other and it was really awkward. I didn't want to be the guy who's super excited to lead the group, and I guess they didn't either. The escape room was history themed. Computer printed photos of historical figures and explorers on the walls, a cheap dollar store style globe on an end table, and so on. Lots of books stacked around. The first thing I did was look at the combination lock on the door, which had 4 numbered rollers. I put in the first relevant number I thought of, 1492, the date Christopher Columbus landed in the Americas. Lock opens. Things got 1,000 times more awkward. I apologized and explained the situation to the host, who told me to sit down for the duration, relock the door, and ask the remaining guests to figure out where the combination was hidden. The host was incredibly angry, but only in so much as I could hear it in his voice and see it in how he moved. Mainly closing and relocking the door hard. He didn't call me out for doing an obviously brain dead thing and didn't say anything rude. Soon after, I decided it'd be better if I just left, apologizing again. Honestly, OP, I wouldn't feel bad. This guy seems like he just sucks at his hobby. That was rSlash, today I effed up, and if you don't hit that like button, then today you effed up.